Assalamu alaikum, hello construction world, and welcome back to OryxTalks. I'm Christopher James, and you'll probably notice that I'm missing my number one offsider here, Lindsay Bowie. So I wanted to get into this week why Lindsay's not here, and something very, very important for our OryxCare listeners and part of the mental health side of the construction industry that we're trying to help out with here. So without further ado, let's get into it, guys.
Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome back, Christopher James here with OryxTalks. Lindsay Bowie has had to leave us very, very suddenly here in the Arab Emirates. She had a bit of a family emergency. Now, I thought it a very opportune time to speak about what happens when you're working away and something comes thrown your way out of left field, and how to handle and how to deal with those types of situations. It's very, very important, and I've been caught in this situation before, where I've been so focused on the job and so in depth with the company and the project itself, and striving to do a good job, that I know myself that I've let the family side of the situation slip on more occasions than I would care to remember. Lindsay had an issue with something with her family. The first thing that Lindsay said to me was, should I go or should I stay? Without even a second thought in my head, I said, Lindsay, you need to go. Very, very important. I said, no matter what happens, family always comes first, regardless of if the situation turns into something worse than what it should be, or the situation is actually a pretty dire situation. Without family, there's no point in doing what we do in some respects. Now, I mean that across the board, whether you're in a relationship, you have a family or anything like that. Family is so very important to the center of what we do, because one day, even if you are a single guy out there working, you will be in a situation where you do have a partner, you do have a young family or something like that. And it's so easy to get caught up when you're working with like Lindsay's situation. She'd pretty much just got back over here to the Emirates and was, getting her OryxCare up and running and really kicking some goals there when something like this happens. And an emergency never happens at an opportune time. There's always tension when it happens. There's always never a good timing, is probably what I'm trying to get at here. So don't even question it. If it is family, it always comes first, and it's something that we don't give it enough priority sometimes in the construction industry, and I'm as guilty as anyone on that. So I said to Lindsay, look, it's no question in my mind, let's rebook the plane, get you on the plane, get you home, get you back to family. 3 days after Lindsay got home, she said, I'm so glad that you told me to come back. It's very, very important. We don't seem to understand sometimes the severity of nature until sometimes it's too late. So don't ever think that a job is going to come first and a job is the only thing that we ever think about. It's got to be a balance. It's always a balance between that yin and the yang. There's work and there's home life, and finding that right balance I've found very, very difficult over the years. I've always been so fixated and so concerned about the project and building career and building reputation that the family for me has always sort of come second. And it's only over time that you understand that you really need that happy balance and that happy medium to deal with both situations. So Lindsay has a younger mindset, and that's where I was many years ago. So I'm glad that I've got a little bit of experience behind me now, and some, I'm a little bit wiser than what I was when I was a young guy kicking around on the pipeline project. So I'm glad that I could pass on my knowledge, and it just goes to show that this kind of thing, it happens at any moment, and it happens to everyone. We've all been there before, and I've certainly missed my fair share of special moments and family events and things like that. So don't ever get caught up in the project. Don't ever get caught that there's nothing else outside of the construction world, because I can tell you there really is. And the number one thing when anything goes wrong is family. So very, very important that you put that really high on your priority. And we're all different. We all handle situations differently. We all have different types of family relationships as well. So, we can't always put everyone into the same basket here. But one of the things that I know 100% for sure is living without regret. It is so important to live a life that you can look back when you're elderly and say, I'm proud of the life that I've had, and I'm proud of the achievements that I've made. And part of those achievements and part of a happy, healthy life is family, and regardless, and I still say this, even if you're a single person, family will always be something that it's that rock, it's that thing that you go back to all the time. So it's very, very important that you keep those relationships very strong. And when family needs help, you need to jump to attention. I was always one of those people on a job site where I tended to think to myself, oh man, I feel like I'm going to let this job down, and what happens if something goes wrong? What happens if they need me and I'm not here? And it was a tough pill to swallow until you realise that, hey, that job should really keep going without you there. If you're doing your job properly as a manager, and I'm talking here, if you're doing your job properly as a manager, it should be able to run when something like this happens. It's very, very important to keep that balance, and I can't speak highly enough of that. So it's something that hits you way out of left field, and don't ever get bogged down. Don't ever get caught up in that I've got to stay here mentality, because it's just not worth it. You mightn't think about it at the time, but I can tell you right now, 10 years later, 15 years, 20 years later, and you sort of look back and say, I could have handled that a little bit better. Hindsight is a wonderful thing, but if I can pass on any of my knowledge with that, I can tell you that it's very, very important to keep family strong, and understand the necessity to keep that line of communication open. It's very difficult when you're for Lindsay, a 15-hour flight back to see family. Basically after just getting back here. So it's a very, very difficult thing to accept, but it's something that you need to do. And in Lindsay's situation, 3 days after getting home, getting over the jet lag and all those kinds of things, Lindsay can sit back and say, I'm so glad that I came home. Thanks for pushing me. Thanks for getting me on the plane. And on that as well, from a manager's perspective, if you manage people, to get the most out of your people, you have to respect that person. And if they have a very strong family connection, you need to help them in any way that they can when they have a situation like this that needs your help. That's what being a good manager is all about. You want to bring the best out of your people so they can help you and help you achieve your goals. So to sit there and say, no, if you go, you're not going to be able to come back, and that doesn't even wash in my books at all. Very, very important as a manager that you look after your people, and as they say, they will look after you. So, the first thing that I did myself was, how can I help? What do I need to do? You tell me how I can help, and I'll make it happen. And it's very, very important that happens, for a multitude of reasons, because at some point in time, the negative situation or the disaster or whatever you like to call it will be over, and you will need that team back together, So you want them to come back happy and in a caring and nurturing environment as well, because without that, you're going to have people that will always, you'll have a high turnover of staff is where I'm going with this, and it's not something that's beneficial for company or your crew. High turnover of staff is very, very bad in the scheme of things, and it costs a lot of money. I don't know what the dollar figure would be to that, because every company is different, but I've seen it in the mining industry, I've seen it in remote construction, I've been involved in it myself, where I was told once that if I got on the plane I wouldn't be coming back. Well, so be it, that's what happened. But that was someone that I never went back and worked for again, and the company I never worked for again either. So always very, very important if you're a manager and you look after people, and your job is to you are the custodian, you're like a teacher in a way. You're the custodian of someone else's children, if you will. So look after those people. You want to create that nurturing environment where people want to come and work for you. So it works on both sides of the fence here. Don't think that just because you're a manager you have to be that hard, tough person and get everything out on time and all these kinds of things. Yes, you do. That's part of what you're paid to do. But you also have to have some, humility about you. You have to be a person at the end of the day. And I've found over time, the more caring that you are and the more giving that you are, the more that people will give you over and above what's expected of them. Especially when you select the people yourself and you put a really good crew of people together. And it's no different for Lindsay and I here. It's something that. There's respect that works both ways there. Very, very important that you keep that respect between everyone and show some love and compassion for other people's families. Very, very important in my view. It's something I've always tried to do, I believe that I've succeeded quite well at it. I've had some people over the time. I've also had some people that really step over the mark with that, and they'll try and really push you. As they say, give them an inch, they take a mile. But you can see through that, and over time you'll work out the ones that are serious and have problems, and the ones that you need to help, and the ones that hey, they don't get an invite back to the next job. So, look, these things never happen at an opportune time, like I've said many times here. So, show some compassion. If you're in the situation yourself, don't even second guess yourself, don't even second question it. Go and look after family. Family is your number one priority in my opinion, and I think it's very, very important that you maintain those family values, because without them, honestly, it affects everything else that you do work-wise as well. So look, from us here at Oryx Consulting, very sad to see Lindsay go home, but something that needed to happen nonetheless, and we'll be back very, very soon. We'll continue to do our Oryx talks, and we'll ensure that we keep getting our videos out every week for you guys that follow us along with that. So look, click the subscribe button, hit that notification bell to make sure that you get updated with all of our new videos, and we really look forward to helping and sharing our knowledge both in the construction industry and the mental health space within the construction industry. So this was one of our OryxCare talks, and we'll try and get at least an OryxCare talk out every week, and possibly one for Oryx Consulting and Pipeline Works every second week. We'll see how we go with all of that to try and juggle everything, because it does get quite busy here from time to time. So look, until next week, stay safe, much love to everyone, and remember, family comes first. Show some compassion, show some respect, and much love to you all out there. Have a safe week, guys.